G'day everybody, here's a video about the bone axe. A couple of years ago I made a bone axe for my son from a file that I got off Thingiverse, and he had it as a door handle, but it was resin printed and there was an accident and it got absolutely smashed to smithereens. So in March I got an FDM printer and I decided to redo and make it with filament, and so I just used the file that I'd had originally and printed it because this was my first print. And when it printed, I had no idea what the supports should be. It was really hard to get the supports off. It took me probably about 40 minutes, 50 minutes to take the supports off. It was quite rough, and I realised that the size that I'd printed it originally was to do with my resin printer, and I didn't need to do it that small. So I went, okay, and I split it up into smaller pieces and printed it at a much greater size than I had previously. So it's about, I think it's about 250% size of the small one. It had 18 hours done and 6 hours to go at that stage. And so I printed it out. When it was finished, put it all together, and these photos are out of order, but anyway. And so there's the old one. We glued it back together, but there's bits missing of it, and it's got quite a few cracks inside of it, and those threads go into the door. But as you can see, it's really banged up. So the small one is the same size, but I've printed one that's a bigger size and more like what you'd expect an axe to be, and it will be more durable too. So it'll be much better to do as far as a door handle goes. Should be a lot stronger with all of that. So first things first was to airbrush the fur. I intended to airbrush the whole thing and do the fur and then spray the paint on the axe handle and everything, save myself some time, but it didn't end up going that way. The paint for the creamy coloured paint that I used for the bone wouldn't go through the airbrush real well. I kept getting clogs. It was just a cheapy artist paint, so there might have been something in that. Anyway, as it turned out, all I ended up airbrushing was the fur. And so I airbrushed a brown, and then I just put a little bit of a darker umber in with the brown and toned it in that way. So there you can see I sort of faded it. It looks like it's the way that the fur goes on dogs and things, where it's dark at the bottom and gets lighter at the top. So that was after the first effort. The little axe, I drilled some holes in and put 3 magnets in, and I thought I would use it as a fridge magnet. The person that snapped the original door handle saw it and said, "What are you doing with it?" I said, "Made a fridge magnet." So they have asked, can they please have the axe in memory of the axe that they shattered, and I said that's fair enough. So one's a fridge magnet, which is why it's stuck to the little scraper, and the other one will be the door handle at the time of making this video. Oh, here's the other thing. I have a grandson that's got some monster trucks, and I decided we needed a ramp for those trucks to get him to drive better, and so I've made him a dinosaur-themed ramp for his monster trucks. So I printed an FDM. It's taped up with, printed it in FDM. It's taped with masking tape there and had been base coated grey. So the tape will have to come off it at the end of it. I didn't bother showing you that thing. So there it is with the base colours down. It was an orange with a yellow and then a purple sprayed in to make it look, and then I painted the bones with just white. So starting the process of painting the axes with the cream, little axe, big axe. It actually took 3 coats to do it. I think I've videoed at least partially the steps of each of the bits, but it was quite an involved process. After that, it was back to putting a wash on the what is it, a Drakenhof Nightshade? No, Drishy Violet from Games Workshop, a wash just over, because it's purple, just to fill in some of those details and let them show up a bit better. So that was that. And then another coat of cream for the axe heads, cutting it in around the fur and the top bit of the leatherworking thing was the most tricky. Oh yeah, after that was a brown wash for the bones on the bones coming out of the ground on the Dino Ramp, and then I painted the ground brown on the Dino Ramp. These things were going concurrently, so I may as well. I did think the Dino Ramp was a whole video in itself, but there's lots of projects on the go at any given point in time. I have several at the moment. I don't know when the next video will be because they're all Christmas presents, so I can't necessarily put them out. I picked out the big rock on both sides. Because this is just a little ramp for a toddler for him to do his trucks, I didn't want to go too over the top. Then it was a dry brush of a light colour mixed with the brown, a lighter colour put in to just to highlight that ground a little bit, make it look a little bit better. And there you have it. That's all that done. All that I did after that was spray it with a clear finish to preserve it so that it was a bit easier for him to play with. So I just got a couple of coats of clear lacquer, and then I took the masking tape off. When I was printing this, I didn't know. I hadn't ever used the whole filament, so I wasn't sure how much they go after they disappear in their window when you're using them. So at 1.5 days in, I switched my filament over, and then 2 days later, I realised there was more filament on the original one than there was left on the white one, so I changed it back again, hence the 3-tone thing. Back to the bone axes. This is putting a Agrax Earth wash onto the bone just to make it more bony looking, so it looks like it's weathered better. I have the other axes just out of shot at the moment, stuck up on the windowsill to compare with. I don't know what base colour I used for it originally. There's a slight difference in that it's a little bit more. There's a slight difference in that it is a little bit more yellowy looking than this one, but I actually like the way that the most recent ones turned out. I think the colours are better for bone, a bit more bony looking. So wash went on. After the wash, the next step was to start picking out all of the detail-y bits. So I started painting the spikes. So there's a still of the wash and what the wash looks like. So then it was spike painting. I used just black for this, but I thinned it way down. Oh, sorry, black and a little bit of white. I made it grey first, and I thinned it way down, let it go on almost so that you hadn't done it, wiped it back and forth. The idea was to try and get a transition. Again, might have been easy with an airbrush, but I didn't feel like masking everything off. So I just did it with a brush and very thin coats, and just applied more coats. Each time I did another coat, I put a little bit more black into the mix. And I think I ended up doing 4 or 5 before I got to black. So there was another black coat after this one that went over the top, and that sort of got the transition that I wanted and the bony looking thing. On the original one, the bone bits sticking out looked like claws, like you'd expect a dog claw or something to be, or a cat claw, and so I thought the idea of the claw was better. After that, it was start painting the leather straps that go right around it. In the middle of this, the video said that it was full, and in the days that I had to download the video, I didn't have time to not. I was trying to get this finished in time for a birthday. I missed out by 2 days, but I just kept going ahead. So you haven't got some of the detailing from when I was painting the leatherwork in. So that's the base colour of the leather. This colour is a really good coverage, so I only really needed to do one with a couple of touch-ups in places. After that, I then went through with I got some white, the bony colour, white, out of the cup that's in the top left-hand corner there with the Glad wrap over the top of it to keep it from drying out. And I mixed it with the leathery colour and painted in. So I did edge highlights on all of the edges of the leather and a little bit of shading and some crisscrossy lines to make it look like it's the worn, cracked leather that leather goes. There'll be, you can see a bit better when I do it and show you in the stills that'll come in between this bit. It's a tedious process and a tedious step, this one, but it's definitely worth the effort to get your leathery looking worn leather finish on it all. I was thinking that I was almost done here. All that was left to do was a bit of a wash over the leathery parts, a brown wash to really make the leather pop and to get some definition in the grooves and the cracks on it all. But I was looking at the fur and didn't like the amount of transition that I had. On the original one, it was really nice. I did it all with an airbrush on the original one, and so I decided to go through and highlight a little bit more of the edges of the fur, define the individual strands a bit better. So this was again a couple of steps. I got some of the colour and mixed it with white. I'd been out playing with my grandchild and we were digging and he was laughing, so I did a Braveheart and while he wasn't looking, wiped half my face in mud, which did make him smile, so it was worth it. And I came in after that and was painting and realised that I still had my Braveheart face on. So there you go, I just extra picked out the fur. It looks a lot better, more like the first one. I did 2 goes of that, getting a little bit whiter with each go, but not going as far with the white, only doing the top edges and the tips of the fur. And in the end, I thought it was a very, very, very good. I was happy with the finish. It looked like I wanted to do. The transitions on the airbrush one, the original airbrush one, were nicer, but this is I had to keep thinking one of them's a fridge magnet, and the other one's a door handle. So that's the leather thing, and that's pretty much how they turned out. Again, I put a lot of, that's the wash onto the leather. I put a whole lot of lacquer coatings, clear lacquer over the top of them, especially on the one that's to be the door handle, and I put a lot around the handle bit where people will handle it a lot more because I don't feel like painting it. So there it is in place. It got some bolts screwed into it and screwed back onto the door, and it works. This is in his D&D room. He's a professional dungeon master, so he's got a wardrobe there where he keeps all of his models and things. And what might you say happened to the Dino Ramp? Well, it finished and it does actually do the job, which was to make the cars go straight without going off in weird directions. I put an extra groove in the centre of it, and the extra groove actually fits Matchbox cars like I was hoping it would. I didn't measure it when I did it, I just eyeballed it, and it turned out really well. And here's my grandson having a go. This is his first go of it. When he comes to our place for dinner, he asks for the ramp most times sitting in his high chair. He pushes his trucks up and down it, and he very much likes the ramp. It's had several spills and broken. 3 of the claws have broken off, and one of the things have broken off, but they've gone back on with super glue, and it's still being fairly robust and rugged, and we're very happy with it because the ramp gets used for all sorts of things, and he's learnt the word ramp. So that's everything. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed both of it. This is just sort of a fun one for things that I'm doing and are on the go. Have a great day. Bye.